All right. Okay, so today we decided to go over Revelations 12. I kind of shared some insights with the group earlier. Um, what was it, last month? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Anyways, that Yahweh gave me. Some of it was new and some of it was during my SJR Isaiah 49 post.
Yeah.
Um, And the big overall is two things that this is about the mighty and strong one, not Yeshua, and
Yeah.
it's about
Now, yeah, I do recall that I do know that popularly this is about Yeshua.
yeah, and I'll admit I've have thought that myself in the past. Okay,
Hmm.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
Yahweh gave me some insights. And so working on Isaiah 49 was very helpful for this because there's a lot of overlap with that. Okay. And that there are things in here that's very specifically some seals, specifically the fourth and the fifth.
Okay.
So JST 5 or King James 6 is about the fourth seal, and it does the numbering of days, 1,260 or three score, which is 60. And then in the other D stanza, 14 is times and a half, time and a half.
Yeah.
And that is with the fifth seal. Now, there is a little overlap of the fifth seal and the sixth seal, okay? Give or take 2 weeks. Anyways, but that's one example of overlap. There's also an overlap with the fifth trumpet and the sixth trumpet. Um, so there's two examples of some overlaps. Okay. But anyways, um, so a a common theme, even in Revelations 11, which we may talk about, it lists out the number of days, as it
Hmm.
does here, 1,260, and then it
Yeah.
also lists out times half a so time times and a half a time. That's a
Yeah.
mouthful. Which is one, two and a half, okay, or three and a half. Um, and so the Book of Revelations does that also. It is a very common pattern to have those two different types of numbers to go along with those two different seals within the scriptures, okay?
Yeah.
And that is even without the other insights that helps pin when Revelations 12 is actually about. Okay. There are some, what I would say, not the best translations in King James. I would say because of the theory that it's off of the war in heaven and not tribulation time. Okay.
Yeah.
And I have done some corrections, and we may or may not look at the Greek words. Some of them probably yes, not all of them. I do have a post that's close to done that will go over all the Greek words that I have corrected into English and as into something else. Okay.
Mm. I
Um,
do I do find it interesting that as we go through the book of Revelation, more and more things are pointing to events yet to come, as opposed to events that have always already transpired.
yeah, and so on that, that goes against D&C 77. And so just since Ben bring that up, here's a couple that I know of that I have in my notes, as you can see, that actually go off and state that. Revelations 1:1, Revelations 1:19, Revelations 3:2, Revelations 3:7, Revelations 5:9, Revelations 6:1, and Revelations 17:8. Okay.
Mhm.
Um it hasn't when it was written, it had none of it had happened yet. Okay.
Yeah.
Now there is the first three chapters, which are the letters to the seven churches. Um, there were the problems that were happening there then, but the reason why I would say it's in the book of Revelations is because the same problem is going to be happening today. Okay. And seven is a number for completion, all. So this is Yeshua was talking about the problems that were back then and the problems that are around today also. Okay.
Yeah.
So and this is a common pattern for prophetic insight in the Hebrew tradition, using the past as a foreteller of the future.
Well, and the reason that they can do that is because the one thing we learn from history is that we don't learn from history.
uh, yes, and those that do are doomed to suffer through it anyway.
Exactly, because they're not the ones who are in a place to change anything. Um,
uh, yeah. So, anyways, the Book of Revelations. The first three chapters, it is past and future.
yeah.
The rest of it is future. Okay. And there are verses in there within the ones that I listed that say specifically all of this is to happen in the future,
Hmm.
meaning it hasn't happened yet, meaning each seal is not 1,000 years, as the false D&C LDS 77 claims. Okay.
Yep.
I do not believe Joseph Smith had a hand in that section. It has lots of problems. I need to work up a resource exposed page on that section as I have on other D&C sections. But it it's not. In fact, the more you study the end times stuff, you'll see how that like seal 4 is for 3.5 years,
Yeah.
not 1,000, and seal 5 is for 3.5 years, not 1,000. Seal 6 is 2 weeks, not which overlaps with 5 also at the end of 5. Okay. No, not 1,000. And the seventh seal is for 6 moons, not 1,000 years.
Yep.
So, um, yeah. I mean, if the wrath was for 1,000 years, which the seven trumpets, bowls, or vials is the seventh seal,
Hmm.
when's the millennium? The millennium's supposed to happen during the seventh, as in Yeshua's reign of
Right.
peace, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Don't muddy up the water with fact. Don't muddy up the water with facts here, Stephen.
I'm actually trying to get rid of the mud. Come on.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I,
I mean, this is the way that a lot of people look at it is when you start actually showing the truth of things.
yeah,
Um,
I know.
you're muddying up the water. That's how a lot of people look at it.
Yeah, and they're if they want to believe that, that's fine. That's their choice. Because I do understand. I am bucking against the trend on a lot of things. Okay. Um, but guess what? The trends haven't been right.
Yeah, the popular ideas. If you want to be wrong, go with what's popular.
Yeah, and okay. So interestingly enough, um, these interpretations that are around about the Book of Revelations have been around before Joseph Smith. Okay.
Mhm.
Uh, Yahweh told Joseph Smith that their theories were wrong.
Yeah. Um,
So,
I think I do believe that the word that he said is that their teachings and creeds are an abomination in his sight. Uh,
yes, yes. To put it bluntly, and to do a more exact quote, yes, they're abomination. So more than just wrong, they're abomination. And in respect to prophecy issues, it's an abomination because when their false prophecy interpretations don't happen, um, people lose faith in the word, and then yes, Yeshua. Um,
so all these false scriptural interpretations can be found in the Book of Abominations. Um,
yes, there's multiple books of abominations. It's not just one. Just let's be clear on that, okay? Now those are their nicknames, not the ones that they're published with, okay? So, um, but a while back ago, when I did the important coming dates, I wanted to do a write up to help people not lose faith when some false prophecy interpretation did not happen, which it didn't. Um, in the process of doing that, Yahweh gave me many insights, okay? And he has continued to do so about second coming stuff since then. Now, you can ask Ben, I was aware of second coming ideas. I never focused on them because I thought what everybody was saying was cuckoo. Just to put it nicely. Um,
Well, in order for it to be true, you have to ignore things that are stated pretty clearly in Scripture.
yeah. Um, so I,
Love you, buddy. Love you too.
by the grace of Yahweh, he gave me some insights, and it was inspiration, not revelation. So I will admit there, okay? But
Mhm.
he led me to scriptures and ideas, and sometimes some of the ideas I needed help from my friends to go find them in the scriptures, which they did help me find, um, that have made things clear, at least in my mind and other people's that I have talked to about
Yeah.
this. And he continues to give me things, like I said, just recently, things that help with Revelations 12, okay?
Mhm.
It has not happened yet at all.
Not a bit of it.
Yeah, including what is it? 2017 was some sign in the constellations, and we'll get in that as we go through this. That the sign is not a constellation, okay?
The
And
sign in the heavens, the sign in the heavens is not a constellation. Most of the time, when there is a literal physical sign in the heavens, that is going to be either the sun, the moon, or a planet. Yes, a planet.
yeah, and that's not in Revelations 12, per
No.
se. Although those words are here, they're more symbolic, and I have some glyphs that get into that, and we'll talk about, okay? But including information within the King James, but then also stuff from the New Translation, which is more known as the JST or Inspired Version. We're given more information to help us know it's not a constellation, okay? And we'll
But
get
I, but the way that I will say it is the way that Yahweh says it. Throughout the Doctrine and Covenants, he refers to it as the New Translation. Yahweh does not refer to this as the inspired version or Joseph Smith's translation. He refers to it as the New Translation.
correct. And that is Yahweh's words in the Doctrine and Covenants. So if you have a problem with that, you have a problem with the Doctrine and Covenants, and I have a list of those where Yahweh talks about it in um, a post about the a new translation. Um,
So here's one
in a
thing.
part. So I'll put it in the notes so that way you can go look at the bottom and get all those
So,
D&C references from Yahweh. So go ahead,
yeah,
Ben.
so just one more thing. The fact that Yochla says this, number one, if you have a problem with it, your problem's not with me, it's not with Stephen, it's with Yochla.
Or Joseph Smith. It's actually with Yahweh. I just want to
Yeah.
add because or Joseph
Or
Smith.
even Joseph Smith, it's with Yochla. So Yochla says it's the new translation. You know what this means? This means there was a need for a new translation.
So
Yochla said there was a need for a new translation.
Joseph Smith did admit it's not everything. Okay.
Yeah, he didn't touch everything, but Yochla says that he had done enough changes that what he had changed was sufficient to be printed.
Correct. He did do that.
Or he had done enough restorations, I should say, that what he had restored was enough to be printed.
You're right. And he said more will come later, actually.
Yeah.
And when I do my translations, I do not take it lightly. And I know I'm just a random amateur. I don't care. I am someone who's trying to make the word of Yah work together. Okay. And I put a bit of effort into going to the original language and looking at the meanings of the original language and having an understanding what the rest of the scriptures say. Okay.
Yeah, see, the word of Yah has to be understood correctly, and that correctly has to be as a unified whole, not as pitting the Book of Mormon, pitting, say, the Book of Mormon against the Bible, or the Old Testament against the New Testament, and more likely the New Testament against the Old Testament. Um, you need to unify it. That's the correct understanding because Yah is one.
Yeah, he is consistent. He does not turn to the left or the right, and he doesn't tell one prophet one thing and another prophet something contradicting. Okay. He may give them a different part of the elephant, but it's ultimately the same elephant. Okay.
Yep.
Now, it can be tricky to put all the pieces together. Um, I, for whatever reason, he gave me help. And it's probably because I wanted to help some people out. Okay. Because of some of the little bit I did study about Second Coming at the time, I knew what was being pushed was a false prophecy, and I didn't want people to lose faith. And so Yahweh saw my desire and my faith and gave me some more. And he's continued to do that since then. Uh, Things here and there. Uh, the groundbreaking stuff is in important coming dates. I have more on my second coming resource page, including when the trumpets, bowls, or vials are happening, as I didn't have that during the important coming dates at the time. And now here, I will be going over an understanding of Revelations 12. So,
All right.
but I'm
So,
going to
yeah.
pause 1 second. Okay, so to start off, we'll just start at the beginning. Imagine that,
A
right?
very good place to start.
Yeah, and so I do think we'll do it within stanzas, which I have different colors for each stanza because I did bring out a chiasm in this. Okay. So Brennan, are you willing to read the A stanza for us?
Yeah, sure. That top one.
Yes, and if you read the glyphs or the notes or not, that's fine. We'll talk about it uh,
Uh,
after. So,
And there appeared a great sign in heaven. Zion is heaven on earth, in the resemblance of things on the earth. A woman or a church, clothed clothed with the sun, which represents being sanctified, and the moon, or the terrestrial glory slash priesthood, under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars, and that represents the apostles who are to bring people into the church.
Yeah, okay. So this is one thing here that a lot of people say that happened in, if I'm remembering the year correctly, 2017, right? In the constellations and the planets, okay? Now, part of the problem that goes to show that that's not the case is this AAB stanza or line that Joseph Smith restored in the likeness of things on earth, which goes along with how whatever this sign is in heaven, and we'll deal with what heaven is in a second, it's like the things on earth.
Right.
So,
So there's nothing about the stars that's like the things on Earth.
I completely agree. So, this restoration through the holy prophet Joseph Smith really goes against this idea it's something in the sky, okay? Because of the resemblance of things on earth. And the resemblance of things on earth has to do with how people interact with each other in businesses, families, neighbors, churches, and governments. Right?
Yep.
So if it's supposed to be things like on earth, what is heaven on earth?
That would be Zion.
Why is Zion what's heaven on earth?
Because the ways of heaven are lived and followed.
Yes, very good. Thank you, Ben. And as now, heaven's an interesting word. Now, I'll just bring up one quick idea. Yeshua in the New Testament talked about how heaven is inside of you. And now, that is because that Yahweh gives unrefined Torah to all adults. And the reason this is a big deal is because Torah is what teaches people how to have heaven on earth. Now, also considering how in the Beatitudes, how the meek are to inherit the earth, meek are the righteous. Now, if the righteous are going to inherit earth, does that mean they're going to be on earth?
It would stand to reason that that would be the case.
So, would that maybe stand to reason that heaven, where the righteous are, is on earth?
Yes. If if um if what the meek inherit is not heaven, if what the meek inherit is not heaven, then it's not a reward.
Yeah, it'd be hell.
Right.
Because there's only two kingdoms, right?
Well, plus there's this, it's if you take the classic Greek understanding of what meek means, then basically what you're doing is you are so you're getting screwed over for all of your life, and then you're getting screwed out of heaven.
Yeah, with the Greek understanding, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so sorry, I'm not a I'm not a big fan of that.
No, I'm not either. So, I, and what all this little discussion here is to bring out is how Zion is heaven on earth, and I'm trying to bring it out from the concepts within the Word of Yah. Okay.
And Zion is heaven on earth because the ways of heaven will be followed on earth, the ways of heaven being Torah, the mind and will of Elohim. So that is So that's where and because of that, that which is the Yah's way, because of Yah's ways being followed, now we have heaven on earth
Correct.
with
Which is what
Yah's word
Zion
being
is.
law.
Yes, and throughout the scriptures, it does bring out how Torah is going to be kept in Zion. And Torah is how Yahweh wants us to be holy as He is holy. Okay, so also, so Joseph Smith restored some to Revelations 12 that defines what the woman is. Okay, and this definition. Now, I do understand it's not right here in verse 1, but this woman is used throughout these chapter, okay?
Yeah.
And so I'm trying,
Do you want me to read the second A stanza?
well, no, I'm going to pause so I can find out which one it is. So hold on one second.
Okay.
Okay, so I found what I was looking for. It's in the F stanza, the second BA, and it's bold. Which means it's from the new translation, also known as the JST or the Inspired Version. We've already gone over how Yahweh himself calls it the new translation in the Doctrine and Covenants. But Ben, will you read this one line here that actually it actually specific defines what the church is.
Okay,
Sorry, what the woman is. That was
so
bad.
I'm going to leave out the glyph that might cast mud on things.
Okay, that's fine.
Nor the woman which was the church of Elohim.
Yeah. Okay. So, there you go. Joseph Smith's correction to Revelations 12 actually defines what the woman is. It's the church.
Yep.
So, I got a weird question. Is the church in the constellations or the stars?
Um, Not direct, definitely not directly, though if you look at the Maseroth, you can find some things that you can interpret into the church. But
Okay.
still,
Yeah,
not
valid point. Valid point there.
not generally though, not
Yeah, yeah,
directly.
yes.
You have to it requires some interpretation.
Right, but along with what we've already talked about, though, is this other correction in AAB that Joseph Smith put that in the likeness or resemblance of things on earth.
Yeah.
So whenever this sign is, as talked about in AAA,
It has to be something that can be replicated on Earth.
correct, because it's in the resemblance or likeness. And that's not something up there in the sky. Okay.
Yeah. Now, an organization, a an organization, a religious organization upon the earth is very easily replicatable upon the earth.
But yeah,
As you can see, just by if you look up if you look up churches in the in Wikipedia, you can find out exactly how often it's been replicated.
it's I don't know about how often, but it's been replicated many times. So, um, so but this sign in Zion is a woman or a church. As when we go look at what was it, FBAA. Okay,
Hmm.
that's a church.
And
It's
so,
not a
yeah,
constellation of stars.
and there's something another very important thing to note is that there are, save two churches only.
Yes. Or two kingdoms. Same basic idea. The church or kingdom of Yeshua and the church or kingdom of Satan. Okay. Now, within the church or kingdom of Yeshua, there are three divisions, which goes along with what's going on with this other part or the last half of A. Okay, which
Yep.
close with the Son. The Son has to do with sanctification. So there are going to be leaders inside the church that are sanctified. Okay. And then there's the moon, or the terrestrial glory, which is the minimum glory for priesthood. Okay. Aaronic or Melchizedek. And there it's at her feet, and the feet has to do with the path or Torah. Okay. And also, one thing that's specifically going to be brought back during the end, near the end of the fourth seal, is animal sacrifices. Okay. And then upon her head, and the head has two leaders, and this gets into church government, there's two heads to the church. There's the local church, and then there's the missionary effort. And the missionary effort under the presidency is then the 12 apostles. And
Yeah.
those 12 apostles go out and do missionary work that bring people into the church, which is just barely starting, aka telestial glory, because they're not they're new to the law, so they're not really keeping it yet. Okay?
Right.
Which goes along with the stars as followers. Now, followers can be at any of the three levels, okay? But it is when you bring these sun, moon, and stars, it is telestial. But the reason there's 12 is because there's 12 apostles that are bringing people in to the church, aka the lowest glory. Because the apostles are to get people to believe, and then the church is to um, disciple that to the celestial glory throughout their life, which goes along with Acts 15 and the part that they're supposed to keep going to synagogue or church and keep learning of the things that Moses gave us. Okay? Right?
Right. Because yeah, the that was the when they left when they left the new converts with four specific commands that they were absolutely to abide, or else they could not be in the congregation.
Correct.
Uh,
Which goes along with numbers 17 and 18, if I remember correctly off the top of my head.
yes, yes. So when they gave them these four commandments that they absolutely had to abide, it's stated very clearly in verse 20 of Acts 15 that well they're going to get the rest of it as they go to Torah as they
Or
learn Torah.
synagogue and learn Torah.
As they go to synagogue and learn Torah of the synagogue service.
Yes. Now, it doesn't say Torah, it says learn of Moses, but Moses taught Torah. So,
Yeah.
this is where understanding how the various ways to present the same idea is important. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. So Brennan read A. Ben, are you willing to read B?
Yeah, sure.
Now, one thing before that Ben reads B, I want to bring out how Joseph Smith moved verse 5 up as in verse 3 to get this to work. Okay.
Mhm.
And that makes the chiasm actually work. Um,
Mhm.
yeah. Anyways, we'll just leave it at that. Because if it was in where it is in the King James, the chiasm does not work. So
Mhm.
I do find that interesting. In addition, this green or B stanza helps add to what's going on in the A and what the sign is. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, so once again, we're going along with the sign. The sign is of the church. Um, the sign is of the church.
Correct.
So that's what is established in A. So, and the woman church being with child, which is the follower, the mighty and strong one, who's still hidden in the quiver of the Lord, or in the womb of the woman, as it were.
Sure, sure. Which Ben's using an allusion from Isaiah 49, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. Cried, travailing. Uh, that's that's the troubles of the first through third seals, because as we see in the pattern shown to us in the Exodus, the first three seals are upon everyone, righteous and wicked.
Yeah, so on that point, real quick, with the 10 plagues of Moses, the first three were upon everybody, including the believers. Okay.
Yeah.
And the same thing's going to be happening with the three seals
Okay.
of the seven seals of Revelation. Okay. Um, and that's the travails or the pains. And they're going to be like, why are you doing this to us? Right?
Yes. Yeah. So travailing to bring forth, because it's the mighty and strong one is forged in the crucible of affliction.
Yes. As in, he's going to be coming some part probably in the third seal. Um,
Mhm.
I don't know exactly when. I don't know if there's enough in the scriptures to know exactly when he's going to be coming. Um, but I do think here it shows it's going to be during this travailing or pains, which goes along with the first through the third seals, as with the patterns with the plagues with Moses, and deliverance. When you know the seals well enough, that is when the fourth seal is when Zion comes about and they are delivered from all their troubles of the world that's going
Yeah.
on. So
And so we have and pained to be delivered, the mighty and strong one. Uh, the mighty and strong one performs the act of deliverance for the church. Um, and she brought forth a man child, the mighty and strong one, who is destined to shepherd, uh, teaching, tending, guarding, guiding, dying all nations, creating disciples of Yeshua around the world as a missionary. And a rod of with a rod of iron, the word of Elohim, and her, the church, child, mighty and strong one, was caught up 3.5 days because he's murdered, according to Revelation 11, unto Elohim and to his throne.
yeah. So some of this Ben just wrote in my inline notes or glyphs. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to my translations, I have a few here. Now, in verse 2, I changed birth to bring forth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually fine with either. I have a slight preference bring forth because as it's in verse 3 or 5, it's a man child, meaning it's an adult follower. Um, Now, this goes along with how Moses was the meekest of the earth, and David's heart was upon Yahweh. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, though Moses and David were both preparers, as the mighty and strong one is a preparer. Okay. And this has to do with there's a pattern of three prophets that do different specific aspects. The messenger who initially brings the message, the preparer who then implements it, or and prepares for the Redeemer to then rule
Or
over,
bring forth the promise
or yeah, yeah, or bring forth the promise.
of the promise of the pattern. And in this instance, it's the most glorious and sublime promise that there is. The rule,
Because it's
the
never going to
1,000.
go.
Yeah, it's starting with the 1,000 year reign of Mashiach.
Yeah,
But
and it's not going to go away after that too.
right,
So
right.
where
So
all the
glory,
other ones, there was an apostasy afterwards. So
yeah.
Now, so on this Greek 5088, I don't think that's a big deal to go look at, but I do think it's probably good to go look at the destined and shepherd. Okay,
Hmm.
so let me go change the screen I'm sharing. That one. So, although that's JST 3 or new translation 3, it is normal 5. So, let's go. Oh, I'm just gonna control F. That's just easier. So was destined it's 3195. Okay. In the Bible Hub interlinear, there have is about, and
Yeah.
and and that goes with destined, but you can go look here, destined. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Um. So I do think that is more appropriate because there is lots of revelations about this figure and his doing of fulfilling or being the instrument for the second coming events, right?
Yes.
So I do think to be destined, or I think I put just to destined is very appropriate. Okay.
Yeah. It's yeah, because if if something has been spoken over you in prophecy, uh, that means that is, in a very real sense, your destiny.
Yes, yes. Okay. So the other big one is Greek 4165. So the interlinear has to rule, okay, and there is some of that, but when you go look at this word, it's actually really to shepherd. Now, part of shepherding does have rule inside of it, okay. Now, and
Hmm.
I do think this, um, where they translate it to rule, I am going to give some benefit of the doubt. Okay, I wonder if it's because they thought it was Yeshua, and Yeshua is to rule during the Millennium. Okay,
Hmm.
but this is not about Yeshua. This is actually about the mighty and strong one. Okay,
Hmm.
because during this time, um, why was with Satan's knowledge how you cannot kill someone that's been resurrected and Yeshua has, why would he try to kill Yeshua? He wouldn't. He knows
Right.
he can't. Okay?
Right.
Which goes along with the devourer in the C stanza or the purple stanza. Okay?
Yes.
Um, he would not be able to do that. Devouring is about eating or killing, murder. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's not gonna happen to resurrected Yeshua.
No, it can't happen to any resurrected
Resurrect.
being
Right.
because once you're resurrected, your spirit and your physical body will never, ever separate ever again.
Well, what is it that it's said in the scriptures? Man is born once to die,
Correct.
not multiple times, once.
Yes. And that's from the New Testament, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Um, Now, there are a few rare occasions where people were brought back from the dead, and the mighty strong one is, and Aaron is a case of that, or cases of that in the future, which we'll talk about in a minute. But that still does not go against that man is born only once to die.
Hmm.
Okay.
Oh,
Um,
which means, by the way, that they can't be recycled in a mortal probation.
Yes, yeah, and I was definitely teaching against that without specifically saying it, but since Ben said it, that started with the false prophet Brigham Young
Well,
because of the go.
technically, since multiple mortal probations is just putting lipstick on the pig that is reincarnation, it started much earlier than that. But
I was referring with the restoration, but ultimately
oh,
I
I
do agree.
see.
I,
I see.
I do ultimately agree with Ben. Multiple probations is just trying to make reincarnation look good. It's the same pig. It's bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Period. So, but the next one I want to look at
Hmm.
is oh wait, that is the two rule. I just want to bring out how with this two rule, I if you don't know what this chapter is about, it's easy to mistranslate things, okay?
Hmm.
Um, and for whatever reason, Yahweh decided to give me insights to know this is about the second coming event and the mighty and strong one. And with that understanding, it brings a whole different light to this chapter because a lot of people take this about to be about a war in heaven and Yeshua. It's not. It's about the war of Satan and Zion and his people during the fourth and the fifth seal and
Hmm.
six because there's some overlap there, right?
Yep, yep.
Um, and Satan, okay, and Satan's followers are going to war against Zion, which is in prophecy, okay,
Yeah.
and even if without believing the mighty and strong one, there is the two periods of the fourth and the fifth seal and how they are universally, almost completely universally talked about in their length, correct?
Yeah.
1,260 days and the time times and a half.
Yes.
Those are
Right. Yeah.
fairly universal for those two different seals. Okay.
Yeah.
Which points it to second coming events and not war in heaven and Yeshua's birth. Okay. So, but during this shepherd aspect here goes along and it goes against an idea that people think this mighty strong one is going to be a king. He's not. He's actually going to go to the kings
Yeah.
after, well, they're during the fifth seal, but more prophesied to go to the kings after the wrath. The mighty and strong one is going to be a missionary for the rest of his life.
Which,
It's
it's we missionary work is a lot. It is a lot more rewarding when when you are successfully bringing souls to Christ. But there
yeah.
is but there's a level of reward in the work alone.
Oh yeah, yes, yes. But the people will believe him because they'll know what he did.
Yep.
And they will see the significance of his words because of what they know what he did. Okay. And there's many places in the scriptures that talks about how he will be a missionary. Now, that goes with being a shepherd
Yeah.
over the rule. And I'm trying to give so Joseph Smith, when he translated the Book of Mormon, he was a seer. And having those insights in translations is very beneficial, okay? Because you know the plan.
Yeah.
Where the, what was it? I can't remember how many scholars did the King James.
Yeah, it was a ridiculously large number of scholars, and it's still considered to be one of it is now considered to be one of the worst translations that we have. In our
That's debatable. All translations have their pros and cons. We'll just leave it at that because
Yeah.
I actually think there's some modern translations that are actually worse. But anyways,
Oh, I
that
agree
has a lot.
I didn't say the worst. I said one of the worst.
Okay, well, some of that goes along with personal preferences, but anyways,
Yeah.
I it has its pros and cons. Okay,
Yeah.
um, I will say the main reason I stick with it is because of the new translation in the Book of Mormon. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and the D&C because the D&C uses its imagery also.
Mhm.
Um, so because of the vernacular that Joseph Smith had, because he grew up with it. I
Mhm.
stick with it because that vernacular goes into what he brought forth into scriptures for us.
Yeah, that's true.
But I do understand it has its problems because here I am doing sharing a translation that I've done.
And that's all I was going to say is that the fact that we need to look at it and we need to um, provide retranslations of some of the wording uh, does indicate that there are problems,
Correct.
significant problems with the translation itself.
Correct. So, get into the being a shepherd is being a missionary. Now, in addition, if you go look at this word, and I'll have it in the post that's getting close to being done. But there's an aspect in here about dying. Okay, let me just. Oh, look, there's studies. That's not going to be it. Oh no. Anyways, maybe it's death, but there is an important. No, I that's fine. But an aspect, a part of being a shepherd is willing to die for the flock. Okay, which goes along with how he's going to die with his religious helper, which I like to call Aaron, that's prophesied in one place is Revelations 11. Now, um, he will have a Lazarus event with Aaron where he'll come back alive and then be a missionary for the rest of his mortality. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that the actual word is shepherd, and you go look through the Greek 4165, it's all about all the aspects of being a shepherd and not just ruling. Okay?
Yeah, yeah, because yeah, the shepherd moves the flock in the direction that it's supposed to go, and as such, he's a ruler, but he's also the protector of the flock. He's also he does so many more things besides just boss the sheep around. And
Yeah, he guides them, protects them, teaches them. It's throughout and even just Paul and throughout the New Testament uses shepherd for the leaders of the church. Okay, which being the leaders, there is a ruling aspect. But if you think that's what your primary aspect of the leader in the church is, you really don't understand Yeshua.
yeah, you don't understand what you're um uh it, it's so many people want to take on the calling of leadership within a church, or they want to take on a ministry and they have no clue what's actually involved with that.
Well,
The
yeah,
seriousness of the responsibility that you're accepting for yourself.
yeah, it's a big deal because, like with the shepherd, he's willing to give his life. Okay,
Lay
that's
down his life for the flock.
that is not a small thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the one other thing I want to bring out here is how the child was caught up, and it's caught up to the throne of Yah. This is going along with the prophecy that the mighty and strong one, after he does the fifth seal for times and a half, which goes, I think that's Revelations 11
Yeah.
is where that one is, and Daniel 12. He goes under the throne of Yah to present his case such that he can then come back
Hmm.
and do unto the wicked what they did unto him for their false judgment, which also includes protecting the righteous, which means rapturing them in current vernacular from the Latin, but basically having them go up into the clouds with Yeshua. Okay, such that the wrath will not get them.
Yeah, the wrath will be upon the world. It will not fall upon because and this is what is meant by you are not destined for wrath.
Correct. That's why the wrath will happen. I mean, sorry, the rapture in current vernacular, because it comes from the Latin, will happen just before the wrath. Okay. And now the reason it has to happen just before the wrath is such that the 144, along with the mighty strong one and Aaron, can go out and teach the world before it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Such that those who didn't go to Zion earlier will get their chance to convert and then go to Zion. Or at
Yep.
least, if nothing else, convert, because who knows, maybe they'll become missionaries too, right?
Yeah.
But the important thing is,
Well, one thing that we do know is that there is a tendency among those who have been truly converted to want to share the gospel and the law and the gospel with others.
yes, yes, completely. Now, but doing it as a degree as the 144 is a whole different level than just doing it normally. So,
How many people would be willing to share the gospel? How many people would be willing to share the gospel if it meant their life?
fewer, that's for sure.
So this is many those martyrs in the fifth seal. That's many of the 144,000.
Yeah, yeah, completely. It is. It's 144,000. And because they've been sanctified, though,
They
they'll
get to
still
rest.
receive they will receive their celestial glory or sanctification. Okay.
And they will
Um,
be able and they will get to rest until the last of the servants have been rejected by
yes.
mankind in the form of death.
Yeah. Or murder, to be
Yeah.
more specific. But yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Which the mighty and strong one and Aaron being caught up is the last two that will be murdered. Okay. For their
Mhm.
witness. Now, they will have a Lazarus event, which actually somewhat goes along. Lazarus were stated as 4 days, but that could be three and a half. I mean, I don't know, because there is what the record says. That's just a theory of mine, okay? And it's interesting to me, but the mighty strong one will not only be dead, but they'll be dead in the streets where the whole world can see them, not hidden dead, as some people have tried to portray. And I'll put my catch, Ben and I's post catch and understand, because I know someone was trying to pretend to be dead. Okay. But the actual prophecy in Revelation says that everybody can see them.
Yeah. Uh, so uh, hiding is not what that's about.
Yeah, in addition, the wicked world are going to all celebrate, which goes along with how they all did that false judgment against him, which makes them liable for the punishment that they gave or wanted to give him. Okay. Anyways, so with that, I will go read the C stanza. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And there appeared another sign. Now,
Okay.
nobody claims that this one's happened. Now, okay, so first of all, um, 1 through 3, New Translation, that's all the part of that same sign, where most people just only want to focus apart the A stanza because they can twist things to get that in the constellations and some planets.
Mm-hmm.
They can't get the rest of that in what they see in the stars. Okay.
Yeah.
Showing it did not happen in 2017 in the stars.
The other thing about a sign is that the sun, when you're driving down the interstate, you see the sign for your exit before your exit.
Just before, not ages or years or
Right.
long distance before. It's just before.
Right. It's not like, yeah, it's not like you see the sign, forget about it, forget that it ever existed, and then the exit's suddenly there.
Yeah, in fact,
Um,
some signs on the freeway are just right there, right when you're supposed to get off, which is a little annoying. But anyways, sorry.
yeah.
Signs happened just before, not long time before. But here's another sign, okay? And this sign is not even possible to happen in the stars, okay? And there appeared another sign among heaven. Now, yes, the one way to translate Greek 1722 is in, but I put it among. And the reason I put it among is because Satan is not going to be in Zion, where the mighty and strong one is. Okay.
Right.
And I don't think that one's too big of a deal. You can go look out on your own and the post that I will soon have finished. Okay. But look up Greek 1722.
Yeah.
And as we talked about already, Zion is heaven on earth. Okay, especially with this likeness or resemblance of things on earth. That's not the stars. Okay, That's- um, yeah. And behold, a great red dragon, which is another title for Satan, having 7 heads. So this has to do with how in the fourth seal initially there will be 10 kings, and then the Antichrist will kill 3 of those kings, and then there will only be 7. Okay.
Yeah. So here's another thing about that. I don't know where in scripture the term serpent is ever used as a designation for any religious institution. And this is going to answer that thing that Seventh Day Adventists always want to say that the serpent and the beasts are all related to the Catholic Church. Uh,
Oh no, the serpent is Satan.
mhm.
And so on this, snakes or serpents, which are 2 different words for the same thing, is symbolism for an enemy. Okay.
Yeah, it's when it says that Eve saw a snake in the garden, it's not a literal snake.
No, it's not.
What she saw was Satan in the
Yeah,
garden.
and we get that later in this chapter in the G or green stanza. But yes,
Okay. Well,
um,
then I'll
but
then if we're going to get into that later, then I'll let it go for
oh,
now.
okay, well, yeah, because right here. But what Ben's bringing out, the red dragon is that old serpent,
Mhm.
aka the serpent from Genesis or the garden. Okay.
It's always best to keep chains of command in perspective. um, and not to call the servant the master.
Correct. Yeah. And so there's a lot in the Book of Revelations that uses a lot of imagery that has been forgotten, um, which makes it more mystical than it really was. Now, there is a verse in the Book of Mormon, um, and I'm inclined to think it's around First Nephi 14. It might be actually in 15 though. That basically states what John wrote when he actually wrote it. It was simple to understand. And that's because the people knew what the images represented at that time. Okay. And I've put a lot of glyphs in this thing to help people see what these images are. And including, like, sometimes I even give chapters like Daniel 7 for the 7 heads and the 10 horns. And the 10 horns represent powers or kings or the toes. Because this gets into Daniel 7 and Daniel 2. Okay. Because Daniel 2, the feet with the clay and the iron has to do with the sea beast or the whore and the antichrist and the land beast. Okay, and then the toes are the 10 kings that later got chopped off to 7 toes. Okay,
Yeah.
it never says 7 toes. It'll say 7 heads, but it's considering it's the same kings, it's an appropriate way to do it. Okay. I don't know any revelation on top of my head that says
Yeah.
7 toes. It's all 10 toes, but it does later become 7 toes. Okay.
So, for those who do know about the polar configuration and think that that is primarily the symbolism that was lost, there's a lot of symbolism that's been lost over time. And
Yes.
not all of
So
it has to do with the polar configuration.
yeah, the polar configuration is part of this. It's not all of it. Okay. Um, some people are overly obsessed with the polar configuration. I do believe it, okay? And it has key figures in the second coming, and it's actually in Daniel 2. And hopefully I finish that post soon that actually brings that out, okay? It's throughout the scriptures.
And
It's in
it was a key
the
and it was a key component in the fall.
Yes, and there are key words from Daniel 2 and D&C that deal with Daniel 2 that actually brings out the polar configuration, which hopefully I'll have out soon. But anyways, I have a problem with shiny objects. So anyways, back to this. The C's, the CD having 7 heads, which is the 7 kings that were left, okay, because heads is leaders, and
Yeah.
the 10 horns, which are the 10 powers or kings or toes that later became 7, and 7 remaining kings, crowns upon Satan's heads, which are leaders, okay.
Yeah.
And then here's the center, and Satan's tail, and tail is symbolic of wrath. Satan's freaking mad because he does not like that Zion is here on earth. Okay. And he drew a third part. Now, a third part, we've done teachings on this before. It has to do with the sons of perditions. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, so it gets into how a third, one symbolism of the third is, or three, sorry, one symbolism of three is redeemed. The opposite of that with third is damned or son of perditions, right?
Yeah.
So I just it's damnation. Um, and the third part of the son of perditions of the stars, and stars as followers of heaven. Now, this gets into the fact that before every one of the family of Adam, and there's only one family, Adam, There's none of this other pre-Adam stuff that people like to push. No, there's none of that. There's one family of Adam. Everybody in the family of Adam decided to follow Yeshua to whatever degree that they decided to follow him,
And for whatever reasons.
for whatever reason, before they came here to mortality. Okay? Because those who did not follow Yeshua were cast out as demons, followers of Satan. But with the timing that this is about is right now, this third part that were cast from heaven that are now following Satan are mortals that have decided to follow Satan now instead of Yeshua.
Yeah.
Okay. And did cast or deceive them to the soil. Now, I do understand King James is earth, and so are other translations. The reason I say soil is because soil goes with dust. I I didn't go all the way to dust because the word doesn't actually justify that. So that's why I have dust in the glyph or an inside note or a side note, okay?
Yeah.
Or inline note. And the reason this is important that Satan deceives people into his domain, which is the dust of the earth. And that's why in Genesis that Adam and Eve are taken out of the dust. Satan's domain is the dust. Yeshua, through the help of his servants, takes us out of Satan's domain into his, outside of Satan's kingdom, domain, into his kingdom or domain. Okay? And so
Yep.
that's what's going on here. Satan is deceiving people who initially decided to follow Yeshua into his domain, into dust, okay, or soil, to be more
Mhm.
specific, to go with the Greek, to be um,
Uh,
honest.
and what is it that that Yah said to Adam, dust thou wast, and unto dust shalt thou return. And so this is the condemnation that is upon all of mankind since the fall of Adam, is that we die and return to the dust. And also the natural man, which has a tendency to want to keep us in the dust, in the soil, in Satan's kingdom. That
Correct.
natural man tendency within us. You know, I find it a tragedy that so many people think that human nature is good.
No, it's not. It's bad. It really is. People don't like it when they do human nature towards them. They only like it when they're allowed to do it to others.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so anyways, the this is about taking more people in mortality and deceiving them into Satan's domain. Okay.
Mhm.
And the dragon Satan stood before the woman, the church. Now, this in the constellations is not possible, especially when you add the child down here in the bottom. Okay.
Right.
There is nowhere in the constellations where the woman is with the child next to Satan
Yeah.
or the dragon.
Draco is not that close to the Virgin.
No, in addition, even if you take a serpent that's got a really long tail that goes by the woman's not with the child.
Yeah.
It's one of the other constellations, the sub ones, that has the woman and the child together that's nowhere near a dragon or a serpent. Okay?
Yeah.
This cannot happen in the stars, which goes along with how this top one is actually did not happen in the stars either. Okay? Because they're
So,
both happening in heaven. So if
yeah.
you think heaven is in the sky with the stars, they both have to be able to happen there. But yet, if it's Zion, heaven on earth, as I'm stating, it's
And
completely different.
if it's Zion and the areas surrounding it,
Yeah.
And this could very easily happen.
Oh, correct. Because I do have that mung on the surrounding. So good point on the surrounding there, Ben.
Yeah, so the point, and so the point remains that the best thing to do with the scriptures is like I said earlier, understand them as a unit, and secondly, demystify whenever possible.
Yeah. Yeah. By using what other scriptures say, right?
Yes. And also, um, apply a little common sense.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Uh, Yah gave us, well, he didn't give us mental faculties. We are intelligences. We're supposed to act like we are intelligences,
Yeah.
like we have
So
intelligence to burn.
Yahweh gave us information, knowledge,
Yes.
such that our intelligence can use.
Hmm.
If Ben's done with that thought,
Yep.
I'll continue.
Yep.
Okay.
Continue.
Now,
Sorry.
the woman, the church, which was delivered. Now, this is a new translation,
Hmm.
okay, which shows that's the fourth seal,
Yeah.
okay, because that's when Zion happens and when the church is no longer in travails or pain.
Hmm.
It's the fourth seal because of Zion, because the roaring lions of the Lehites have taken their land back through the leadership of the mighty and strong one to have Zion. Okay.
And Satan does, and just going into that last little bit, Satan does desire to devour the mighty and strong one on the 144,000.
Yes. Now, in C, it's specifically about the mighty and strong one.
Hmm.
But I do agree. He wants to get rid of the 144, and some of the 144 he actually does get to devour, hence the martyrs during the fifth seal, right?
Hmm.
So I'll go read the last stanza of C. Ready to devour or murder, because devours eat, and he's going to murder them. Her, the church's child or follower from the church, okay? The mighty and strong one.
So, with the understanding that all of this stuff none of this stuff has happened yet, Satan could not be looking to devour Yeshua. He knows he's beaten by Yeshua.
Yeah, he can't. In fact, he tried to do that at the first coming and it didn't work. He knows he can't do it.
Hmm. So that makes absolutely no sense. This idea that Satan's wanting to devour Yeshua makes no sense. So again, applying the concept of using your intelligence. Um, suppo-
And
the-
how those verses in Revelation actually says these are things to come, not what has already happened.
yes,
Right?
yes, shortly to come to pass. And at the time that John was on Patmos, um, Yeshua is already at the right hand of God.
Yeah, that was like 70 AD, give or take, right, Ben?
It was before 70.
Oh, was it?
Um,
Okay. Well,
but
anyway.
it was not that much, but not
Oh,
that
okay. So I'm a little off, but not too far off. That's
not
fine.
too bad. Not too
Okay. All right. So Satan's ready to devour or murder the church's child, the mighty and strong one. After he now, and this it is really simple to just because it's a man child. Come on, I
bad.
mean it's a he. Um,
Mhm.
was brought forth, or no longer hidden, or put, or in the quiver, right? As in
Yep.
Isaiah 49 puts it.
Hmm.
So, hopefully, with these glyphs and thoughts here, is seeing how it's connected to other revelations about the mighty strong one and the second coming events.
Hmm.
Okay. So, Brennan, are you willing to read the D blue stanza for us?
Yes, it's a bit hard to see on my screen. Let me
Do you want me
see.
to make it a little bigger temporarily for you?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Try 160. Is that good, or do you want a little more?
Yeah, it's good, I think.
Okay.
Um, and the woman or the church fled into the wilderness, where the church had a place prepared of God, that they, the mighty and strong one, and the church leaders, should feed her, the church there in Zion, 1,263 days.
Okay. So, that was pretty simple there. The church fled somewhere. Now, yes, it does say wilderness there, but that's going to be Zion, okay? Especially
Mhm.
considering how that place that they fled into in the wilderness is prepared of Yahweh or Elohim for them. And that's the same theme that goes along inside of Isaiah 49. Among other places, Isaiah 49 is more recent for me because of the post I did, so it's easier to reflect on that one. And how the mighty strong and other church leaders should feed or, teach. Oh, I should add that actually, come to think of it.
Mhm.
'Cause, I mean, I think that's obvious, but I'm trying to make things very obvious, right?
Yeah,
So,
they're supposed to feed or teach the church as opposed to the false teachers who are feeding off of the church.
yeah, and actually slaying the flock um,
Mhm.
versus um, using the wool. There's a difference, okay?
Yeah.
um, where the wolves are actually eating the flock instead of just using the wool to sustain themselves. Okay,
All right, to be for warmth.
correct. And this 1,260 days goes along with the fourth seal in many locations. Okay.
Yep.
So this D stanza has everything to bring out how this is dealing with the fourth seal, okay?
Hmm.
Which starts with the blood, with the mighty strong one leading the roaring lions to take back their land from the USA by blood. That is how the land is going to be redeemed in today. In Joseph Smith's time, as brought in LDS D&C 101, was supposed to be bought or purchased, but that did not work. So what's coming is it's going to be redeemed or bought by blood.
Hmm.
So war, which also goes along with D&C 87, right?
Hmm.
So, anyways, Ben, will you read the red or E stanza for us?
And there was a war in Zion. Michael,
No, at Zion.
oh, sorry, at Zion. And there was a war at Zion. Michael and his angels, the believers, uh, fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his Satan's angels, sons of perdition, fought against Michael.
Yeah, I mean that one's pretty simple. There's going to be a war,
Okay, well,
right?
and this once again goes back in. The reason why those are sons of perdition is because they, in their pride, are fighting against Yahweh's ways. And uh, what's that last part for the 666?
Okay, so it's fighting against Yahweh and His ways in their pride with their natural man.
Yeah.
So
In other words, they're so smart, they have a better idea. They're gonna fight tooth and nail to keep uh, Yahweh's plan from coming about, and they're just not that powerful.
yeah, no one's more powerful than Yah. Okay,
Mhm.
and we'll see in the H purple stanza that I even did some retranslations that we'll look at because I think they're important enough. Two of them, anyways. Um, to look at in the recording. But here, there's going to be a war. was Satan and his followers, the son of perditions, against Michael, who's going to be in Zion. I don't know the exact timing of this yet. So
But Zion will be defended by the power of heaven. And the dead left outside of her will feed the crows for, I forget exactly how long, but for a long time.
possibly what Ben's talking about is the fifth trumpet bowl or vial, and that's for 5 moons, actually. If
Yeah.
that's the one he's thinking of, which I
I'm
think.
thinking of the one that's talked about in Ezekiel chapter 37 and 38.
Yeah, I
Or
believe
38.
that's the fifth trumpet.
Yeah.
It's not called that, but there's all the overlap
Yeah,
concepts.
yeah. There's
So
overlapping concepts. Yep.
yeah, yeah. So it's called something. It doesn't have that name there, but it has all this aspects from the fifth trumpet bowl or vial. So okay,
In Ezekiel, it's called the army is led by Gog from the land of Magog.
yeah, okay. So I'll read the pink or F stanza. And the dragon saint prevailed not, so he didn't succeed. And against Michael or Adam, neither the child, who is the mighty and strong one, okay, nor the woman. Um, so this is specifically, it's church as defined, but it's going to be specifically the leaders of the church, okay? It's just the leaders of the church are the ones directing everything and are actually making sure people are keeping the commandments of Yah such that the church can receive the protection of Yah. Okay?
Yeah.
But here is that stanza or line again that says the woman which was the church of Elohim. Okay?
Yeah. Huh.
And that is a Joseph Smith correction that Yahweh commanded Joseph Smith to do.
Mm-hmm.
Who the church was delivered, as in Zion in the fourth seal,
Mm-hmm.
of her pains, or the tribulations, or I mean, not tribulations, travails, which is another way of saying the first through the third seals. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
There's nobody who escapes all tribulation.
no, there's not. Now, I'm careful with the word tribulation. I My personal opinion, and I'm not 100% sure yet, I think the tribulation is the fourth through the fifth seals, which includes the six.
Mm-hmm.
But that I could be wrong on that, so that's just why I'm being careful how to say it. Um,
Well, if you're caught in the middle of a civil war, you will understand that that is tribulation.
I I can understand in general why you would use the term. I don't know if that's scripturally correct, and that's why I think that's here. They even say
Okay.
travails and pains, even in this chapter Revelations.
Yeah, true, true.
So that is something to look more into for sure. Okay,
Yeah,
but
oh, absolutely. Yeah,
no,
don't
no,
mean to
and
argue.
I'm being completely open and honest. I'm not 100% sure
Yeah.
myself yet, and that's my
Yeah.
inclination right now. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, delivered, okay, from the pains, and brought forth the kingdom, which is Zion of Elohim and his Messiah. So this is the kingdom of Elohim and the Messiah, okay? Zion
Mhm.
is.
Is this one of those instances where and could be even?
Yes, actually, that's, well, and I don't actually, I don't think it applies here because who the church brought, been delivered of her pains and brought forth the kingdom. So,
Hmm. And the kingdom
oh,
of
but God,
Elohim.
oh, this right here, yeah, I could see even there. I'll put it
Yeah.
there. I'll have to do an update. So yeah, I can see how and is even here. So
Yeah,
yeah, good point. Okay. So I got mixed up on which and. Sorry about
yeah.
that.
It
But
happens.
yeah, I agree. It could be this is where and can be even. So
Yeah, yeah.
okay. All right, Brendan, are you willing to read the G green one?
The top G green one, because
Yeah,
there's
Neither,
yeah,
another.
yeah.
neither was their place found in heaven, Zion is heaven on earth, but the great dragon, or Satan, who Satan and his teachings were cast out or removed, that old serpent, Satan, called the devil, and also called Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He, Satan, and his teachings were cast out and removed into the world, and his, Satan's angels, or the sons of perdition, were cast out or removed with him and his teachings.
Mhm.
So this goes along with what Ben was talking about earlier. So if he wants to say something again or more about how the old serpent
Oh,
is
yes, the old
also the
serpent.
devil or Satan.
Yeah, the old serpent. The old serpent is the devil. You think about all of the nicknames for the old all the nicknames for the devil. How many of them have to do with old? Old Nick. Um, uh,
Yeah, or Santa Claus. Actually, if you
it-
go look up Nick in the dictionary, the
Mhm.
1828 one, it does. I can't remember if it was Satan or devil. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
I think it's. I'm more inclined to think Satan, but it's been a little while. But
But the serpent is Satan. The
yeah.
serpent is not medicine. Even though the medical establishment has a serpent on the caduceus,
Yeah, well, that's because they're actually following Satan's
they're
plan.
following Satan's system.
Yeah,
So
that's
they're purveying the misery of Satan's system upon the people, calling it health.
yeah, and
Uh,
that actually goes with pharmakia. That's in other. I forget which chapter that is in Revelations, but
yeah,
that's
that's a
another.
different
So.
that's a different thing entirely. Uh, but the fact that the serpent uh, the is on the is on the staff is is very telling. The serpent who is Satan, is also twined around the staff of Hermes Trismegistus. This is he is like the sage of all sages for mystics and Gnostics. So this tells you where their doctrine comes from. The serpent is the devil. Do not mistake the servant, the Gnostics, the pharmaceutical, the people in charge of pharma. Don't mistake the servants for the master. Their master is Satan. Their master is the serpent. Don't mistake the servants for the master.
Right. So, this green basically goes along with how Satan, his teaching, and his followers are removed from Zion or heaven.
Yeah, so if you think you're going to be in Zion preaching New Age principles, um, unless by some strange, unless because I don't know everything, but
Well, okay, so on this, you might be able to do it for a moment, but
yeah,
it will be found out and you will get kicked out.
yes. The point is that that is a lot of the New Age principles are all about how to do God. They're all about how to do our Elohim out of the picture, rather than making him your number one Elohim, your top Elohim. You're doing him out of the picture.
Which is the first division of Torah or the
Yeah,
first.
it's a direct violation of that.
Yes.
So all the New Ager, there will be no New Age philosophy taught
No,
in
I do
Zion.
want to say this real quick. New Age is just soft occult, just so people
Mhm.
are aware.
There will be no Greek philosophy taught in Zion.
No, it'll be taught against.
No Greek philosophy was not a preparation for receiving the law of the church.
Well, no. So he's just going off what the church fathers claim, which is, or I would more like to call them the Catholic church fathers, but apparently the Protestants still call them church fathers too.
Well, yeah, the Protestants claim them too, but that's because I'm sorry, Protestants are just confused Catholics.
Uh, to a certain degree, I completely agree. Not
Yeah.
completely, but yeah, to a certain degree, I agree. Yeah.
So and the facts of the matter are, um, the whole spirit of the Protestant Reformation was one of argumentativeness, and it was all about arguing doctrinal points, not actually returning to the ways of our Elohim.
Yeah, and on top of that, they still kept a lot of the Catholic ways.
Yeah,
So
they still
I,
kept the ways of Satan.
yes, to be more blunt, yes. Which the Catholic Church openly admits that they baptized the ways of the pagans that the Hebrew Scriptures says that we should not be doing anything after. So
Right. And that scripture is still in effect today. And those who have baptized pagan and satanic ritual to make it Christian are under the judgment of Elohim.
yes, and those who follow it too. I'll just
Yeah.
made it that way. So, but anyways, so if they do get in, and I can see with the mass migration that goes to Zion, it's going to be hard to keep all of them out. And so there's probably some that will get in and then they'll get cast out or removed. Okay.
Unless they repent of their wickedness.
Oh, yes. So yes, there is a process, and it's good that Ben mentions that because there will be, um, first, those who see it, this is a pattern throughout the Old Testament and the New Testament and the D&C, that those who see it will go talk to them personally. And then a group will go talk to him personally, and then if they still will not repent, it'll go to the church or the civil, depending on the which commandment that's being broken. So, anyways, it's the same pattern for the church or the civil government. Okay. So, anyways, there is a process, and it's good that Ben brought that out there. Okay. I was being a little lazy. Sorry about that. So I am going to do H if that's okay, Ben, because there are some important ones in there that on the translations I want to bring out, if that's okay.
You're fine.
So, um, and I, John, heard a voice saying, "In heaven, and heaven is Zion. Zion is heaven on earth," okay, as we've talked about before already. Now is come deliverance. Now, this is not a big deal here. It could be salvation or deliverance. The reason I prefer deliverance because it's temporal. Um, and the reason I say it's temporal is because of a prophecy of Yeshua stating that there will be two plowing the field and only one will go up during the rapture. It's temporal salvation or deliverance and not Salvific or spiritual. Okay.
Yeah,
That the
so
mighty and strong one is providing.
now oftentimes salvation from our temporal concerns can give us the opportunity to refocus on our spiritual concerns. But that is a choice that each person must make.
Yes, it's a personal, and there's going to be people in Zion, which I believe this prophecy from Yeshua is about that people go and they're just going to get away from the war. And Isaiah 49 brings out how people will go there and say, "Oh, this Torah is too hard to live." Okay.
Mhm.
So they do the bare minimum so they don't get kicked out, but it's not enough for them to receive salvation or be saved with Yeshua. Hence, and this is probably more of a preference of mine, so I'm going to go look at the word. But that's why I prefer to have deliverance there, because in my mind, deliverance is temporal, where salvation is spiritual. Okay.
Yeah,
Now, this
yeah,
one's
I
a
can see that.
and then this is a big one, and miraculous power. So I do want to go look at that word before we go on.
Miraculous.
Yeah, miraculous power. Did I say it wrong?
Yeah, yeah, it was, yeah,
I slurred it a little bit. Okay, well that's
yeah.
fine. That's
You're
whatever.
okay. You're
I,
okay.
I I have a speech impediment. That's fine. So,
Yeah, yeah,
and the inter
and luckily you had an interpreter.
yeah, yeah, thank you. That's a good thing I have an interpreter. Okay, so if you go look at this Greek word, yes, power is there, but when you start really get into it, it's miraculous power.
Mhm.
Even in the definitions, miraculous of power, miracle. It's throughout this that it's all about miraculous power here. So
So you mean it's not just stuff that it's not just the power to do everyday things.
no, and it's not strength. So strength is more along with the strength of men,
Right,
right?
right.
Miraculous power is something that's coming from Yahweh because this is miraculous power is where healings come from,
Mhm.
where the Moses parted the Red Sea, how Elijah and Elisha parted the Jordan River, so on and so forth, right? And if you go look at the topical lexicon in here, it all has to do with miraculous power here. So this,
How those of terrestrial and celestial glory will be in the clouds.
yes, including the rapture, that is going to be a very miraculous event for them to be saved such they don't get the wrath after the mighty strong one and Aaron come back from being at the throne of Yah presenting their case, right?
Hmm.
So, um, it's not strength. I mean, yes, that's there, but when you go really look into it, miracle, power, and even just the actual definition,
The whole thing about miracles are those things which are beyond explanation by human means.
correct. And when you go look at the prophecies of the mighty and strong one and the roaring lions taking Zion, it's miraculous. And then you go look at the miracles in prophecy and how they will be protected from Satan and the sons of perditions. It's miraculous. Much like
Mhm.
during the Exodus with Moses, is it the Amorites where he's raising his hand?
Yes.
Okay, good. I remember the people.
Yeah.
um,
You remember the people correctly.
Yeah, yeah, okay. But Moses was told to raise his hands as while Moses had his hands up, and this is an example of faith, the people prevailed. When Moses' arms got tired, which after a while I can understand his arms getting tired, okay? It's
Yep.
that's why Aaron and Hur came and helped um Moses to hold his arms up, okay?
Yeah.
That's there is no real correlation of Moses raising his arms up, which the people down there fighting would not even be able to see because they need to look at the enemy in front of them, not looking at Moses.
Yeah. If you're looking up at the hilltop, you're getting your head and somebody's swinging a sword at you, you're getting your head chopped in.
Right. So Zion will be brought by miraculous power to give deliverance to those who go there. Temporal salvation, or temporal redemption. Um, So, and the next, and I'll do the last part. Oh, I should go because I can see more than you guys can. I need to change the screen again. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, I'm loving this dunamis.
So I'll do the last A for the H purple stanza, and the kingdom Zion of our Elohim,
Mm-hmm.
and the now King James says power. I'm going to tell you it's authority. Okay, and we'll go back in a minute to see that of his Messiah. So this miraculous power is going to happen because the mighty and strong one has the authority from the Messiah. Okay?
Yes.
It's not something you can get from another man. You have to get it from the voice of Yah himself. So let's go look at that Greek
Now,
word.
offices within that authority can be bestowed by one holding that office.
Yeah, office is a little different. But yes. So that is the Greek 1849. Oh, in fact, even the Bible Hub Interlinear says authority there. Okay. But let's just go look at the word authority. Privilege, that has to do with authority. Okay. Not necessarily power. Force. Force can do with power, but you can have the reason you can have the force is because you have the authority or the privilege. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you get that because you have worked on your mastery or your diligence in following Yahweh's ways. Okay.
More importantly to this particular exercise, your self-mastery.
Correct. Yes, self-mastery. Because Yahweh is not going to give his authority to someone who has not taken the time to follow his commandments, which is self-mastery, as Ben's bringing out there. Okay. So all throughout this is authorities, authority, domain, which has to do with authority, charge, you're in charge, authority, you're in control. Okay. I mean, it's throughout this, all the definitions and the various different groups of people that have come up with definitions. That's what these different sections are different groups of people coming to understand what the definition of the word is. Okay. And some of
Mm-hmm.
them get a lot more technical than others, but it goes along with authority, which goes along with how you'll be delivered by miraculous power. Oh, I should bring it back because someone has Yahweh's authority again,
Yeah.
as in Melchizedek authority. Now, there are churches out there that claim the Melchizedek priesthood. They don't have it. They have no fruits of the Melchizedek priesthood, really.
Yeah, you to claim to have Yah's authority when you do not is a very serious thing.
Okay, so just so we're clear on here, there's two levels. There's the Melchizedek and the Aaronic. I do believe the Aaronic is within the world right now, even
Yeah,
within the apostate restoration churches. Yes, I said apostate. Just like the Israelites had the Aaronic priesthood even when they were in apostate
mhm.
states. The Aaronic priesthood is very resilient. Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't it's not um yeah, it withstands apostasy.
Yes. Melchizedek does not because man cannot give it to another man. It's actually by Yah's own voice.
Mhm.
Yahweh is the one that decides who that goes to, not a man. And it's not just because you got into a certain age, okay?
Yeah, but you can't luck your way in just by
No,
surviving.
no. You have to be showing Yahweh, and you can't fool Yahweh that you're striving to keep his ways.
Yeah.
Hence, it's by the his own voice, and I have lots of quotes on that. I'll give a link for that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Ben, will you read this green G stanza for us?
For the accuser, Satan, of our brethren, and this time brethren is leaders, because I know oftentimes make this big old thing about brethren not being leaders. It's being all the brethren, but in this instance, it does make sense that it would be the leaders. And
Right, because he's going after those who are in charge, not every,
Mhm.
uh,
um,
or especially not the early converts, right? I
yeah,
mean,
the early converts, the early converts don't, the early converts are having a hard enough time with their own natural man. They don't have to be blaming Satan for all of their problems.
well, okay,
Um,
so Satan is actually doing actual real valid accusations, okay?
mhm.
But they're covered under Yeshua's atonement, and
Yeah,
they actually are striving to be better.
yeah,
So Yeshua's going to ignore the accuser.
yeah,
Just so, anyways,
yeah. For the accuser Satan of our brethren is cast out, which
as in cast out of Zion, right?
yeah, and yeah, so just really quickly, the accuser is Satan. The accuser is not just any old person who actually calls the leadership of your apostate church to book for for acting like apostates. Um,
Right.
so for the accuser of our brethren is cast out, which accused them before our Elohim day and night.
Yeah. So the reason Satan's going after the leaders and not necessarily just the converts or other followers in the
Not the
church
rank
is
and file.
you're very good. Rank or file is because it's the leaders that are keeping everything together. And Satan is focusing on wanting to get everything to fall apart. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Brendan, will you read the pink F stanza for us?
For they, the leaders, have overcome him, Satan, by the blood, the life and righteousness of the Lamb, Yeshua, and by the word or teaching of their testimony or belief. For they, the leaders, love not their own lives, but kept or are obedient to the testimony, because faith is belief and obedience, even unto death, which is enduring to the end. Therefore rejoice, O heavens, and ye, the believers that dwell in Zion, with them, the leaders.
So, this just, it's pretty simple here. A couple things probably worth bringing out. Blood is symbolic of life. Um, and now, Yeshua's life is meaningful because he never sinned, hence his righteousness, right?
Right.
And it is because of the blood of the Lamb, Yeshua, his righteousness, his atonement, that we are able to overcome sin, which Satan entices us with, right?
Right.
And it kind of it re-emphasizes this that their word, their belief, their teaching, their testimony, they live by this, hence the kept, the obedience, and the testimony belief. And this goes along with faith. To please Yah, we need faith, right?
Mm-hmm.
And faith is belief or trust in his word and being obedient to it. Okay?
Yep. And just for some insular within the book of Revelation itself, this whole thing about love not their life, because they love not their lives to the death, um, even unto death. That's a reference to the martyrs,
Yes, yes, it is.
uh,
Um,
because that is going to be a very real thing. People are going to die for the true word of Yah, not the milk toast Christian version of it. People are going to die for the truth in the end times. And it's best not to be busy asking at that point why Yah allows bad things to happen to good people. Because,
the
um,
better question is asked, why are you allowing bad things to happen?
yeah, you need to be asking yourself,
Because
why
if Yahweh didn't allow it,
why am I tolerating this?
yeah, because if Yahweh didn't allow it, he wouldn't allow you.
Right. So,
It's,
the thing is that all of us have sinned. Now, surely some sins are of greater magnitude than others. There are some sins which you can't come back from.
uh,
The denial of
well,
the Holy
I think
Ghost.
possibly a better way of stating that is because you can repent of the mark of the beast if you had not gotten the oath and the covenant of the priesthood.
Right.
Okay. Meaning that you made this promise with Yeshua, uh, that you know it is right and you're going to do it. And there's two people I know off the top of my head that entered that and then were not able to repent afterwards. Saul
Mhm.
and Judas
And, and
Iscariot.
that's and that's my point, is that there are some sins that it's not that you
Well,
can't
it's
walk.
not just the sin though. It's because they got in a certain particular covenant
Yeah,
before they did that sin, is what I'm
you're
trying
right.
to bring out
Well,
here.
yeah, but and
And
I agree
Paul
with
does
you.
talk about this, but you first
Yeah.
need the oath and the covenant of the Melchizedek priesthood, and
Hmm.
then you commit the mark of the beast, or 666, or fully ripe, or denying the Holy Spirit, whatever term or
And
phrase you
that
want to call it.
but the point is that can't be walked back.
You're correct. I
When
agree.
you're when you
I'm
have that
just
when you have that when you have to when you turn your back that completely on the commitments that you have made,
correct. Yeah. Yeah.
there's you won't walk away. You won't walk it back.
Correct. And on a symbolic level, I will just say this. This goes along with how you cannot remarry someone that you've divorced because you've gotten to the point where you've married Yeshua, you can see him, but then you've rejected him. You've divorced him, and you can't get remarried. Okay.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah. But that means getting the actual Melchizedek priesthood, not the fake ones that people claim they give or get. Okay. So.
Because there is no man can give you God's power.
Yeah, because men can be deceived.
Yep.
And so the Aaronic priesthood, it is Yahweh's priesthood, but it doesn't have the power to it. You can't heal. It's for taking care of the church, not to
Yep.
perform miraculous power things.
Yeah. 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 That's just a simple fact is you're not going to as it is stated in the Doctrine and Covenants, it has not the power to heal or do all these things. It has only the power to to bind cursings.
I No, the Aaronic priesthood doesn't
Or
have power to
it,
bind cursing. It's to do administration and call people to repentance.
let me see it. Let me see what I'm,
Let me pause for a minute.
because I'm not.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll pause. Yeah.
Okay, so I said something a little bit out of place. You're right. The Aaronic priesthood does not have the power to bind cursings. What they have the power to do is to perform outward ordinances and to teach, preach, expound, exhort, not extort, exhort, and baptize.
Yeah.
That is what the Aaronic priesthood has the power to do.
Yeah. So basically ministering of the church, the
Yeah,
basics, and getting them to um, actually help them repent, which they promised to do before they were baptized. Right.
yeah.
Anyways, because they're not the mouth or They don't have the power. But anyways, all right. So to go on a little more with this F here, therefore rejoice, O heavens, or the people. I should say people in Zion. So you see that I cannot stop trying to improve these things. I haven't, because here I'm doing it live here.
Mhm.
Okay. Therefore rejoice, O ye heavens, or people in Zion, for ye believers that dwell in Zion, with the leaders that are doing this righteous work because they love Yeshua and you. Okay? They're doing it for both. Hence, the two divisions of Torah, how to love Yeshua and how to love your neighbor as yourself. Right?
Yeah.
Yeshua's law is about love. It's just, it's not love how you want to love. It's love how he knows we should love. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I think Brennan did F, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Ben, will you do red E for us, please?
And after these things, I heard another voice saying, "Woe to the inhabitants of the world." Okay, this is an SJR here, based on the Greek translation of the word word that comes translated to us as earth.
Yeah. So
World.
Greek 1093. Now, either one's probably ultimately fine, but this goes off of my preference of putting world as wicked and earth as everybody.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
and there is kind of a general trend of that in King James already. So it's
And the
not just
world the world represents, in many instances, the world represents the satanic system that we live under.
correct.
Uh,
And we're about,
Now, in the instance of John 3:16, it's a different world entirely.
well, yeah, and I'll put a recording to that. The world there is actually from a different Greek word than it is from this Greek word.
Hmm.
I don't remember the number, but I do have a teaching on it, and that one means system, actually.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and I'll put a link to that teaching. So,
Yea, and they who dwell upon the islands of the sea.
so this is talking about Zion because Zion is on the Isles of the Sea.
Well,
Okay,
and from a Jerusalem perspective, Zion is on an isle of the sea because it's across the ocean and it's surrounded by water.
correct. Yep.
So, uh, for the devil is come down against you. Again, retranslation of the Greek word there.
Yeah, this is one of mine. Where unto is probably fine, but considering the next point is that he's got wrath, it
Hmm.
shows that he's against you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Usually when you have wrath, it's against somebody. So
it's,
having,
it's not for them.
yeah,
That's better
is
thing.
come down against you, having great wrath, because Satan knoweth, that he hath but a short time, because he will be bound. For when the dragon saw that he was cast out into the world, he persecuted the woman. And he's been doing that all throughout the history of the world.
I
Uh,
agree, but he's going to be putting more emphasis where he's going to do the war, for example.
right.
The
Yeah,
war.
an actual, real, potentially life and death kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh, which brought forth the man child, the mighty
Yeah.
and strong.
So the church brought forth, or the mighty and strong one came out of the church of the firstborn, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
He will come about because he believes in the teachings of the prophets
Hmm.
and take them seriously more than the mainstream churches do. Okay?
Hmm.
He's not going to come from a mainstream church that basically degrades the teachings. And in fact, maybe one thing I should bring out how this man child, it, oh, I think I said it before, but I'll just say it again. It shows that how he's an adult
Hmm.
and a follower of Yeshua. Yeshua in the New Testament talks about how we are to be like children. Not that we're supposed to be childish, but childlike. Childish is someone that's greedy.
Doesn't really
Um,
think about anyone but themselves.
yeah, they're not patient. Where childlike is someone who is teachable of Yahweh. Okay.
Right.
Which goes along with how Moses was the meekest man on earth, and David's heart was after Yahweh's, which both of those two were preparers. Okay.
So, but did they do nothing wrong?
No,
Absolutely not.
no, they sinned. They needed Yeshua just as much as the rest of us. Okay.
Right. And their status as preparers did not preclude them from sinning.
No.
In
Yeah,
fact, if they had said that in fact, David himself admitted his sin and
yes,
repented of it.
correct.
So if you believe that if you believe what the word says, that David repented of his sin, you cannot believe that he lost his exaltation.
Correct. And so on this, there is an idea there that Joseph Smith said David is not exalted or sanctified. That is not the case. That is a lie from Brigham Young. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a lie from the pit of hell. Oh yeah, Brigham Young. Yeah.
yeah, well, those they go together. That's yeah.
Sorry.
Uh, I have a very low opinion of Brigham Young, and Ben and I have done some stuff on him together, and I've done stuff myself. So, anyways, I'll
Yeah.
maybe put some links to some of them. But also, I want to bring out here how in here, and this is just without the new translation with Joseph Smith, Satan knows he has a short time.
Yes.
That is not 7,000 years or 6,000 years. Okay.
Hmm.
Meaning, I'm bringing this out because this helps bring out how this is about the second coming event and not the casting down of Satan from the war of heaven. Okay?
Hmm.
Because he does not have a short time back with Adam and Eve. He had a long time, 6,000 years to be specific, right? Give or take.
Plenty of time.
Yeah, yeah. Where it's now an issue because he knows he's run out of time or short of time.
He's reached that oh crap moment.
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to put run out. Here I am, just keep improving it. I can't stop myself. Um, right? Versus
Yeah.
when he came down, he had a lot of time. And I'm just bringing this out how this is not about the war in heaven, as where some of the King James translations makes it look like it is. Okay.
Or like it could be.
Or it could be. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's my turn to read D or blue.
Yes.
Um, Therefore, to the woman or the church and converts, and it'll be understandable why I say the converts in just a second, okay? We're given two, and now this is two where I'm going to bring out the Bible and the Book of Mormon because of 2nd Nephi 3 and Ezekiel 37, okay, with the two sticks
Yeah.
and wings. And so wings are power, okay? But the power comes from Yahweh's word or Torah. And throughout the scriptures, it does specifically state that Yahweh's power is his Torah, okay?
Mhm.
In that, that's because it's his word, and if he doesn't keep his word, he doesn't have any power, okay?
Right.
Now, the Bible and the Book of Mormon both teach Torah.
So on that idea of without if he doesn't keep his word, he has no power. So when Christians state that Yah undid the law, you're basically saying that he doesn't keep his word, and he therefore has no power to save you. So why are you worshiping Yeshua anyway,
Yeah,
since
well,
he
this
has no
goes
power to save you?
yeah, so this goes on a verse in Second Nephi 28, how it brings out how they have a form of godliness but deny the power Torah thereof.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly
Um,
what I'm talking about.
yeah. Um, Yeshua's Torah is his power.
Yep.
Because it's his word, his bound, and he's bound by his word. And if he did not keep his word, no one would respect him. In fact,
Mhm.
even look in the New Testament. Even the demons who freaking hate Yeshua, they obey him because they know he keeps his word. He has power.
Mhm.
In fact, even the book of Job, one thing it definitely brings out how Satan can only tempt us to the degree that Yahweh allows him to because he's the one is in charge. And Yeshua will not allow Satan or his demons to tempt us more than we're able to resist.
So this is both a good and a bad thing.
Yes, because it shows that we condemn
We
ourselves.
we are capable of resisting far more than we think we are.
Yes.
However, that means that the level of temptation that Yah allows us to experience is going to be
Used against us at Judgment Day if we don't repent.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's to the degree that we can resist. So,
Yeah,
uh,
you could still resist. This is the thing is when we say that we had no choice about doing the wrong thing, we are just lying to ourselves.
yeah. Yeah. Um, we condemn ourselves with our own sins. Um, yeah. So, anyways, back to the verse of a great eagle. So, one thing to keep in mind, birds are messengers. Okay. Now,
Hmm.
an eagle is the greatest bird there is within the scriptures. Okay.
Yes.
Because it's the most powerful one. And here's its great. And so this is talking, this great eagle is the great messenger, the mighty and strong one, that's giving people the two books from Ezekiel 37 and Second Nephi 3, the Bible and the Book of Mormon, which is the power of the wing or wings.
So here's
Torah.
the thing. Here's the thing. And this is an actual scientifically provable fact. Eagles fly higher in the sky than any other bird.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. So,
They well, they have to because those birds that they're flying higher than are their prey.
yeah, yes, because they're going after the demons.
Yep.
It-
So that's they fly higher in the world. They fly higher than any other animal, known bird in the world, and that's even concluding those storks that every year have to um, fly over the Himalayas.
oh, okay. That's cool. Well, that would make sense, right? And that's probably
Mhm.
why they're the greatest in
And this
scriptures
is one of the
because
reasons.
they fly the highest, as in they are the
Yep.
closest to Yahweh, and that
Yep.
would make sense. So.
Yep.
So the mighty and strong one is giving the Bible and the Book of Mormon to the church and to the converts, which teaches Torah. Okay, that she, the church and the converts, might. And so in this part, in here it's more converts because it's dealing more with the fifth, which overlaps with the sixth seal a little bit, right? That they will flee into Zion. Okay, and because during the fifth and sixth seal, It's the 144 going out under the direction of the mighty and strong one, who is the head apostle. Okay. So just on this one point, the reason the two powers during this time and the rest of mortality are going to be Yahweh and the mighty and strong one. Yahweh and Zion and the mighty and strong one in the world because he will be the head apostle. Okay. So, anyways, the mighty and strong one is the head apostle and above, over all the missionary work in the world. Hence, the shepherd to all nations. He's in charge of all of it. Okay. In addition to going to all the world himself after the wrath. Okay. But because the converts will leave the world or actually flee the world because the world and it's flee because the world is going to try to stop them from doing it, and so hence they have to flee. Okay, into the wilderness, which is symbolic of Zion. Okay, into the converts church's place, which is Zion, which has gone over before, where the church of the converts are or is nourished with the word of Yahweh. Also going back to the Bible and the Book of Mormon, right? Which actually goes with BA and BA. Okay.
Yep.
And I'm not bringing out all the depths in the stanzas that are in here. I hope you guys will look at the post when I have it out, or even just pause the screen or the video and see. There's a lot of depths, even with the BA and BA and BB and BB. Okay.
There's so much in here that we haven't talked about.
But yeah, it would just take forever. In fact, just on this times and a half a time, the one that says that in Daniel 12 is
Yeah.
the mighty and strong one, that great eagle, which goes
Yes.
with BB. Okay. There's a lot here, and it's impossible to share it all. I'd be writing forever. But anyways,
Yeah.
I
Not to mention talking forever.
yeah. I am trying to bring out some things though. But anyways, from the face. Now, face is symbolic of identity, and you get the identity from the teachings of the serpent Satan. Okay.
Yep.
And this face also goes along with the people who are keeping those teachings, who they're running away from, right? So,
Yeah.
but they've
Makes sense.
adopted the identity of Satan or the teachings, just like Yeshua adopted the teachings identity of the Father, that we are then supposed to adopt the teachings identity of the Messiah, because we will be like him. I'm sorry, we'll recognize him because we'll be like him because we've adopted his identity ourselves.
Yeah, we have his ways have become our ways. And while you're busy saying that those ways are abjectly irrelevant, how are they going to become your ways?
They're not, and says you won't recognize him.
Yeah.
You have to become like him. And despite the debate of Torah being valid after Yeshua, even those people that say it's not valid after Yeshua do agree it was valid during Yeshua.
Yes.
So if he was keeping it and we're supposed to be like him,
What are we
that
supposed to do?
implies that we need to keep it like he did.
Uh-huh.
And even the New Testament teaches that. What was it? 1 John 3, one of them, if I remember
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
that specifically states that we are to keep the path or the walk that he kept, which is Torah. So, and that in 1 John 3 was written after the death and resurrection of Yeshua. So,
Yeah, so I I'm glad you guys think you know something, but you don't.
yeah. Okay. All right. Anyways, moving on. Um, Brendan, will you read the C stanza, slash the purple stanza?
And the serpent, or Satan, casteth or sent out of his, Satan's mouth, teachings, water as a flood, which signifies the many sons of perdition, just as with the Romans in the Second Temple, as prophesied in Daniel 9, after the woman or the church, that he, Satan, might cause her, the church, to be carried away or destroyed of the flood or the many sons of perdition.
Yeah, so Satan's gonna have a lot of his followers go
Go
after.
to go to make war on Zion.
Yeah, yeah. So one of the symbolic meanings of water is people. In fact, maybe I should put people slash sons of perdition.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
just to
One of
make it
the
a little more clear, but anyways.
yeah.
Um,
That's
but
actually the symbolic meaning. I think in many instances, that is the symbolic meaning most used in the Book of Revelation, especially when it talks about third of the waters are dried up. That may actually be talking about literal waters, but
yeah, so we'd have to, I don't know about which one's more, but that the dried up that has to do with trumpets, bowls, or vials, and so I
yeah.
think that's literal, not symbolic.
You think
Just
that one's yeah? I mean, I can see that.
but we could go look at it later because I'm
Yeah,
just
we'll
going
look
off
at
of
it
rough
later.
memory right now.
We'll look at it
But
later.
water has many symbolisms and meanings to it, and so we'd have to look at context. But
Mhm.
in this here, it is people.
Mhm.
Um, and which is why I had the Sons of Perditions, but I decided to put people slash that just to try to make it a little more clear with the symbolism.
And for a cross reference to this, see Ezekiel 38.
Yes, yeah, which yeah goes with the war. So and so part of Ezekiel 38, going off of vague memory, and some of it is before the seventh seal, and some of it is during the seventh seal. Okay. Um, and I have that on the second coming page, on that. You'll just have to search for the chapters to go see which one.
Yeah.
I don't have all that memorized, but we have gone through it as a group, and I've put it up there. So, anyways, now this flood, it just goes along with how the second temple was destroyed, with Daniel 9. Okay, so there's multiple abominations of desolations in the book of Daniel, and they're referring to different events, and you have to have the full chapter context is to know which one's which. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, but yes. Anyways, I have stuff on my Daniel page I can put a link to on about Daniel 9 and how the flood are actually Romans. Okay. Which
Mhm.
goes along with how this flood is the sons of perditions. Okay. It's happened in the past. It'll happen in the future. Yeah, there we go. So, and that flood is going to try to destroy the church, but it's not, right? So, anyways, Ben, you want to read the green or the B stanza?
Dark green, the dark green.
Yeah, yeah, the dark green, because I think that other one's more like a yellow green, but
It's
anyway.
actually olive green, but
Oh,
still.
okay. So color's not my thing.
Yeah, I did lights for theaters.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Color lighting is my thing.
yeah, yeah. So the dark green.
Yeah. And the earth helpeth the woman, and the earth openeth her mouth, and swalloweth up the flood, which the dragon casteth out of his mouth. So
So, oh, go
these
ahead, Ben.
people these people are swallowed up in an earthquake, much as Korah and the rebellious uh, Levites were swallowed up in an earthquake.
Correct. And actually prophesied of earthquakes coming too,
Mhm.
with second coming event. So here's at least one earthquake right here.
Yep.
Um, that is being so would we say that maybe that's a miraculous event happening because someone's got some actual real Melchizedek priesthood that can command the elements?
Yeah,
Does?
it is stated uh, in Enoch's time that the earth did as commanded by Enoch, and rivers flowed out of their courses and cut off cut off the attackers from Zion.
Yeah, so here's something following that same basic pattern, right?
Yeah,
Except instead of waters, here it's an earthquake.
and it is commanded.
Yes, as in priesthood, Melchizedek priesthood, real Melchizedek priesthood that the Book of Mormon and the Bible and the D&C brings out how real Melchizedek priesthood can command the elements, hence pronounce blessings and
And
real
cursing.
blessings and not just hopeful prayers.
They
So,
can pronounce blessings and cursings.
correct.
Now, this is not the petulant um, dusting of feet as done by pissed off young Mormon missionaries and in on streets that didn't treat them well.
But yeah, well, they
Um,
don't have the authority to do that. For one, they don't even
yeah.
have the Melchizedek priesthood, but
Number one, but I said it the way I said it for a
yeah,
reason.
I know.
They're being incredibly petulant. They are not showing the wisdom of Yah, and and now number one, if they had the truth and they were actually doing their best to present it well, and people were just being schmucks. Now that's one thing, but if now, I happen to know that the LDS missionaries do not have the truth. They also are not always the best behaved towards people.
No, and they're too young to even have any, even the Aaronic priesthood, to be honest. But
Yes,
okay, so I should I stated that way. Let me say it a different way. They're too young to be using it inside the church. Uh,
yes.
is the best way to say it because you
They're
can
too
have it.
young. I
You
would
can
say
have a particular priesthood before you can use it inside the church. So
they're too young for public ministry.
yeah, that's probably a better way of saying it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they're too young for public ministry.
yeah.
Um, because even Yeshua was teaching when he was 12. But most people are not that mature per
Well,
se.
yeah, but he wasn't doing it the direction of the church, and they were coming to him with questions, and that's a little different than doing a public ministry. But anyways,
Yeah, no, I
um,
agree. I'm just saying. I wasn't saying that he was involved in public ministry. What I was saying was that that was actually not an example of public ministry. And my thought is that's not an example of public
you're
ministry.
right. It was circumstantial. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, yeah, because circumstantial stuff is not the same thing as going out. Yes, I have a ministry and I'm going to teach all the world everything that it makes me cool.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, so if you're done with that thought, I'll read the
Yeah.
last verse.
Yep.
And oh, sorry, and is in King James were new translations. Therefore, the dragon Satan was wroth with the woman because the earth swallowed up the sons of perditions to protect the woman church and went and make war with the remnant or followers of the church because of the word,
Hmm.
which kept or was obedient to the commandments of Torah of Elohim and have the testimony or belief. And so this is where it's going into faith because faith is belief and obedience of Yeshua, the promised Messiah.
Yep.
So, this, especially 17, did not happen with the war of heaven. They were cast out. This has to do with the second coming events. And so throughout this, there are hints that it actually is about the second coming events, but because some think it's about Yeshua and his birth and the war of heaven, they will somewhat ignore what they see in these other verses. Okay?
Right.
And that's not wise.
It is absolutely unwise to ignore anything that is actually the word of Yah.
Yeah, I agree with Ben. You do not ignore the word of God. Uh,
It is absolutely unwise.
yeah,
But there's lots of things that purport to be the word of Yah that are not.
correct.
For instance, Song of Solomon.
Yes. So I would liken that to a romance porno novel of today. So,
Doctrine and Covenants, section 132.
yeah, that's a dream of Brigham Young and his cohorts.
Yes, that was a wet dream of Brigham Young.
Yeah, which goes along actually with Songs of Solomon, actually.
So, yeah.
Um, yeah, not everything that people claim is the word of Yah is actually the word of Yah. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, Now, I do hope as we went through this, through my translation, in addition with on top of Joseph Smith's new translation that Yahweh commanded him to do, and with the thoughts uh, and the understandings from other scriptures about the second coming events, that you can see that this is about the second coming events, Revelations 12, and that the man child is not Yeshua, but the mighty and strong one who is to shepherd during this time, where Yeshua is to rule from the temple.
Mhm.
And Yeshua is not going to all the nations. He never did, and he never will.
He dwells in Zion in the midst of his people.
Correct. And so there's a lot of these little tidbits here and there that when you take into account will show that it's not what most people are making this chapter out to be. Okay. And
Yeah.
so I do hope this reading and our commentary here will help you see what Revelations 12 is actually about and not what people claim it's about.
Mhm.
But more important than that is to come under Yeshua's covering and to become like him, to be holy like him by how he states we need to do it, as stated in his Torah, his written word, that is not a prescribed punishment.
The reason why understanding prophecy correctly is important is not just so that you can say that you understand prophecy. It's because then you know what time it is. And you
Yeah,
know how much, and you know that the time is far spent. There is little remaining
yeah,
in which we can repent and return to our Elohim. You cannot say in that awful day of judgment, if you have not turned to your Elohim before then, you cannot say at that awful day that I will turn to my Elohim.
yeah. You have till the day of your mortal death to repent. After that, there's no longer. And the Bible and the Book of Mormon and the D&C bring out how Yahweh makes sure, oh, and the JST, make sure that you have enough time to repent during mortality.
Yeah,
Um,
and there's something in our hearts that knows that Torah is the right way to live.
yeah,
There's
it's
something in the heart of
called
every man.
it's called the conscience, light of Christ.
The light of Christ, and it's in every man.
Yeah.
You know what's right, you know what's wrong. Everybody wants everybody to keep Torah as far as they're concerned. Nobody
So
wants to keep Torah as far as everybody else is concerned.
No, I will say this. It's unrefined Torah. It gives
Yeah.
you the basic idea. And you have to work with authorized representatives of Yah to get it fine-tuned. Okay.
Hmm.
But it's there enough that you know overall what you're doing is right or wrong. Okay.
That's
Now,
right. So there is nobody who doesn't have the chance to repent in this life.
yeah, because the light of Christ, your conscience tells you when you're doing something wrong, unless you've dulled it, which is the great work of Satan, is to dull your conscience.
Well, and there's so many things that dull our senses in this world. There's so many things that dull our senses as to what's right, what's wrong. And facts of the matter are, many of these things that dull our senses to what's right and what's wrong are very enjoyable.
Well, that's why people want to do them.
You're
So,
right. Uh, stuff like uh, stuff like stuff like video games, movies. A lot of there's such a high level of violence, and you're rewarded for, and the games reward you for doing terrible things.
yeah, yeah, and you think it's just pretend, but it does erode you
It
slightly.
erodes your sensitivity.
Yeah, it does.
More than anything, that's what happens is it erodes your sensitivity to what's right, what's wrong.
Yeah, and so it starts out small, and then you'll start doing it in real life. And there's plenty of examples of that happening in real life. Um, though let me end with this: that Yeshua is the promised Messiah. Come
Amen.
under his covering, keep his Torah. It is
Amen.
also be careful to what interpretations of prophecy that you cling to, simply so that way you don't lose your faith if you cling to a false or wrong interpretation of prophecy. And then so that you then think that the prophecy is false rather than the interpretation is false.
Mhm. Yeah, I would suggest that as far as that goes, um, the interpretations that you find here are very grounded. They're grounded in scripture, they're grounded in the word. These are good predictions. These are good interpretations. They are true. The interpretations that many people posit, if an interpretation of prophecy requires you to ignore the fact that it didn't happen in order for you to believe in it, well, I think that says enough.
Yeah, see, you're listening to a false prophet.
You're
I
listening to a false prophet. You have chosen to love a false prophet, and you need to repent. Just let it go. Just let it
yeah, yeah,
go. Just
yeah,
let it
yeah.
go. It's not
I,
it's not the end of the world if you repent.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't understand this before, and I only understand it because of the grace of Yah.
Mhm.
So I, it's fine. I have listened to some a Seventh Day Adventist that I thought he had some things right. I later found out he was wrong. And it's even in a few of my blog posts that I've referenced his documentaries or movies or whatever you want to call it on it.
Mhm.
I I've been wrong. It's okay.
The biggest thing is be willing to let go that which is demonstrably untrue.
Yeah, Seventh Day Adventists, and the Catholic Church and everybody out there got this stuff wrong. And I only got it because Yah gave it to me.
Mhm.
And but you can see here, it's based off of other prophecies that are teaching the same thing, just at times different imagery. Okay,
Mhm.
it's same concept, just a different way.
Yep.
Um, if anything, if you listen to someone else's and it doesn't happen, Understand it was that person's false interpretation and not actually Yahweh's words. Okay? Even if you don't listen to me, at least realize it was someone's false interpretations. Don't lose your faith in Yeshua and his ways.
Yeah.
All right, we say this in the name of Yeshua the Messiah. Amen.
Maine. Well,